So I made a lot of love with this passage. Psalms 32. Psalms 32 was one of the many psalms that I memorized by heart. And this is what I mean by when I said I made a lot of love with this passage. I'm changing, understand what I'm doing, because I know what I'm doing. I'm changing the phrase, the way that phrase is used. I'm changing the way that you view that phrase. Because too often we think about making love, we think about sexual intercourse. And to do that, you're not knowing what you're doing to your subconscious. Subconsciously, you're reducing the image of God, because God is love. So you're reducing God down to a beast. And therefore, this is one of the many components of why you treat God the way you treat God. It makes it so easy for you to disobey God because of how the subconscious is being perverted to view God. Because anytime you speak about love, you gotta have God in the equation. So now, so that you can understand what I'm saying about love, when I speak about making love, I'm talking about teaching and grooming people, building relationships. I'm thinking about children as of right now. Like I have produced a lot of children in the spirit, and like there's a lot of people who will say they've been influenced by me directly. Like Jamal has taught them so much when it came about God. Like from the way they talk, from the way they walk, specifically their favorite scriptures and some terms they use when they talk about, like I created a lingo in Miami. I got children in the spirit in Miami by the legions. But nevertheless, we have this thing. And verse 9 in Psalms 32 is huge. It says, "Be you not as the horse or as the mule, which has no understanding, whose mouth must be held with bit or bridle, lest they come near unto you." All right, that's the King James. So if you want a better reference point, is the interlinear. And what I mean by better is just it's more of what it says in the original language. So verse 9 says, "Be not like the horse, like the mule, which has no understanding, with bit and bridle his gear, to be held in, that they do not come near you." Right? So that's what it will say in the original language. You know, and so this was a major principle of mine. And this was the principle of this passage, of this verse in particular. And it's one principle that you can get out of this verse. People can be like a horse. What do you put on a what are horses in relations to humans? What are horses? Horses are carriers. Horses are carriers. Horses carry personnel and goods. And so here it's telling you to be mindful. Don't be as the horse. Don't be as the mule, which lack the understanding. And what do they say that you got to, because they lack of understanding, what is it that they got to guard? The mouth. The things that you think and the things that you speak can bring spirits upon you. Ooh, it can bring forces your direction that you don't even know they're coming. And what will happen then? They will ride you. You will become a courier of their personnel and their energy and their devices. It says, which have no understanding, whose mouth must be held with a bit or bridle, lest they come near unto you. And what is interesting in the interlinear, which speaks more into the language of what it really says, right? It says the gear with bit and brittle his gear to be held in. Like, these are the gears that you got to use sometimes. You got to use these particular gears in many instances to protect your mind and your conscience from being penetrated by forces. So and what does this look like? What do these gears look like? Because we're not talking literally, obviously, according to the text. You're not literally like in the horse state. So what is it? These gears are protocols. They're codes of conducts. You should think a certain way. You should be mindful of how you think. Sometimes you don't need to express certain thoughts in your head, let alone out your mouth. And I know that may be difficult to something like, whoa, controlling your thoughts. Yes, because there's layers to your thoughts. You can think something and not even broadcast it within your mind. That's instant thinking, and that takes some training for many. But you got to put gears and protective walls. Be mindful of what you think and mindful of what you say, because they will come on to you like they come to a poor little donkey or a little, a little mule which has no understanding.